I think a lot of people overestimate what they can do by themselves, but underestimate what they can do with other people. The mind and human potential are limitless, but I also want you guys to keep in mind that it's extremely hard to do every single thing by yourself. You see, teamwork makes the dream work. And I'm not just talking about in Marvel Rivals, but I'm also talking about in real life. I want you to think of maybe your favorite actor, your favorite artist. It doesn't matter. You can think of anybody who is successful. And the one thing that a lot of successful people have is a strong team behind them. Teamwork is one of the most underrated parts of Marvel Rivals and also one of the most underrated parts about life. And so I don't want to waste too much of your time. So let's go ahead and get into it. You see, we thrive off of working together with other people. Sure, solo carrying is perfectly fine, but I feel like there's so much more power when you're working together with other people. See, guys, I don't think that people really understand this, but this is actually a fact. The human brain is hardwired to reward effective teamwork by releasing chemicals that foster pleasure, motivation, and trust. I'm saying some of this to say, like, listen, man, it's cool to be able to carry games yourself, but I think that it's even more admirable, or, you got to tip your hat off to somebody who actually works well with people, even if you don't know them. Because even if you don't know somebody else that's on your team, right, or you've never played with that specific individual before, this carries on into real life. So maybe next time, instead of being negative and talking trash to your teammates, maybe pick them up and maybe give them a tip or two while you guys are in the heat of battle. I understand that sometimes it's a lot easier said than done, but I honestly feel like this will actually help other people and help this game thrive even more. This not only works in real life, like in work, it works also with problem solving, and it also will help you with sports as well. Whether you like it or not, you have to work well with your team in order for you to succeed. The second reason why teamwork makes the dream work, not only in Marvel Rivals, but in life, is because communication improves reaction time and decision making. Communication with your teammates actually helps with allowing people to chill out and not overthink as much. And to be honest, I feel like, the less that you communicate with your teammates, it's like you just lose games unnecessarily because nobody wants to communicate. And that's why in one of my previous videos, I just said that, like, there's no reason for you to be scared. I understand that people are like, for whatever reason, they're nervous or concerned or scared that people are just going to jump down their throats. And I understand from past experiences, and maybe, you've experienced that a time or two in Marvel Rivals, but not everybody is like that. Also, not everybody is like that in real life. There's actually good people out there, So don't be afraid to communicate with your team. And even if you're the only other person you're the only person that's making call outs, you're not going to be blamed for the loss because you're the only person that's communicating. For example, call out enemy ults, call out different targets that are out of position, I feel like these are extremely effective tips. And then not only are they effective, but I feel like they're underrated. Because guess what? Communication is huge in relationships, right? And not only is it huge in relationships, but maybe it's really good for people that, you work with or people that you game with, and also this can also really help you out with your family, relationships as well. Miscommunication or no communication at all causes more failure than the lack of skill does. The third thing that I think is really important, and actually I think is one of the most underrated and least talked about things in Marvel Rivals and in life in general, is having trust makes players take better risks. See, teams with high trust actually will take better risks together. Not only that, but you'll recover from your mistakes quicker. I also feel like the reason of why people may play passively in games is because of their fear of making mistakes. And I think that that's the number one thing of why, or the number one reason of why, in some games, maybe like in Celestial or higher, you'll have people that, they'll say, oh, well, they don't belong in this rank. Well, guys, something that a lot of people don't consider and they don't realize is that if there's like a larger streamer, or maybe it's their rank up game and they really desire to rank up in it, there's a lot of unnecessary pressure that a lot of people put on themselves to perform, not only for themselves, but because they don't want to get flamed. And so I think that this is something that isn't talked about enough. And I think that is a major reason as to why maybe sometimes people just don't think about that, To be honest, if you're not working well with your team, then players are not going to want to engage. They're not going to initiate fights, and they're not going to try combos, and especially if they're scared of being flamed. Safe environments create innovation, growth, and confidence. And the number one thing that, destroys everything is fear, because fear destroys creativity everywhere. The fourth thing that I want to talk about is teamwork reduces tilt and emotional burnout. So, y'all notice how when emotions get high, and like when you're in a really, really tough game, or when you're in a game that's really close, like you're playing on Convoy or Domination, right? Emotions get high, and then somebody starts crashing out. And then, your teammate then proceeds to crash out on you. Your energy is contagious, man. And this is not only just in Marvel Rivals, but in life itself. Your negative and your toxic energy rubs off on other people, and it causes other people to play worse. Now, people can say whatever they want to, that words don't hurt, or words are, people can call you soft, or you can call them whatever, right? But at the end of the day, this is the truth. Your words do have power, and they can change the outcome of the game. You see, the person that ends up tilting and tries to sabotage the game usually does. But the person that stays calm, that usually speaks positivity into other people and actually uplifts them, it actually helps, and obviously it's not all the time, because, you got trolls, you got people that, just don't care. But I'd rather still take that chance and at least give my team a chance to win, because regardless, the only thing that you can control is what you do. You can't control what your teammates do. You can't control what the enemy team does. You can't control, there's too many things that are outside of your control. And the only thing that you can focus on is performing your best, communicating well with your teammates, and live with the results, man. Because leaders also know, like in real life, that like being calm and like being conscientious of other people and being, keeping an even mentality is what's going to carry you. The last thing that I really want to talk about is accountability. And accountability builds team momentum. And I actually really want to talk about why accountability is important, because not only is it important in game, but in life, but it's, I think, the number one reason of why it actually holds people back, not only in Marvel Rivals, but in real life. Because you see, a lot of people are scared to take accountability. They always blame somebody else instead of looking inward. And so for me, I think it's like really important that you always go back and you vibe review, because I think a lot of people, regardless of what rank you're at, or even if you're a casual player and you just want to get better, a lot of times I see a lot of people pointing the finger and blaming somebody else, when really there's still something that you could have done better, regardless of whether you had 40 kills and you only died once. You know what I mean? Like there's still things that you could have improved on. You still like there could have been you could have peeled for one of your supports and maybe you could have saved their life. Maybe you could have, instead of W keying, you could have played, back a little bit to help take the pressure off of your tanks a little bit. Or maybe if you're a Vanguard, maybe you could have created space a little bit better. You see what I'm saying? So there's a lot of things that go into this. Another thing that I think holds people back is like, they just don't believe in their teammates. Like they come off of one bad game and then they automatically go into the next one and think everybody's just terrible, or, just always having that negative mindset. And I feel like that needs to change. If you have a bad game, then dust yourself off and move on to the next one. Instead of blaming everybody else and pointing the finger at what everybody else is doing wrong, you need to be pointing the finger back at yourself and noticing that there's things that you still could have done better. You see, winning teams own problems together. They don't just, point the finger at one person, because if you have a wink link on your team, that can bring the whole ship down. You know what I'm saying? And when you blame other people, it just brings the whole morale of the team down itself. And at the end of the day, Marvel Rivals is a team game. This is why it's important to play with your team. You understand that? There's no I in team, period. And so, I hope that this video wasn't too long, and I hope that it inspired you. And the last thing I'm gonna say before I end this video is that, like, just remember to believe in yourself, bro. Like, regardless of, people can say that it's not that deep, but it is. And I think there's just a lot of negative energy that's going on around, not just Marvel Rivals, but in life. And like, instead of putting out things that are negative and that are toxic and that are going to bring other people down, I hope that this inspires somebody. I don't know where you are or who you are, but I just want to say thank you. God bless you, and I hope that you have a good rest of your day, man. It's your favorite big brother, Krewsaunt. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, because we get in that rear end for the rest of the year, man, and until. So thank you.